to business for Ohio State. Improvement week is over. Thank goodness. Getting ready for Ohio State and Marshall on Saturday noon in the Horseshoe. Guess who else is back? Tyvis Powell, right over here. Jeremy Birmingham over here. And, of course, Bobby Carpenter on my left. I am Austin Ward. So what'd you do with your weekend? It's wide open.
Well, I was in the big house, so
you were just always working.
Yeah, I was behind enemy lines. And
it's good. How'd it feel up there?
What's wrong with that team, Tyvis? You got an up close and personal view of that.
It's not the same. It is just not. They are not physical as they used to be.
No.
That defense is not as dominant as it used to be. They're missing tackles. And that quarterback situation is atrocious. He had like 3 interceptions. It was ridiculous. So
Warren Davis.
Yeah. So we should be fine.
The thing is, from what I've heard, like Alex Orji, very talented, is capable of doing some of like the Will Levis stuff that I think we saw out there in a period too. Where
Look,
I'm going to go ahead and say the funniest thing that I've seen in this football season thus far, and it's early because we've seen some horrible,
awful ball.
Awful
I
football.
wish Belichick, no joke, before we get you going, I was talking to John Simon. Like, I wish Bill Belichick would do, because he would do this on Mondays after
like the worst plays
across, and do that for everyone.
We have seen
he would have to. It would be so much.
The Will Levis thing is just.
We have seen some bad stuff.
We talked about this crap last week.
We have seen some bad stuff. But Michigan fans complaining that when Alex Orji comes in the game, everyone knows what's coming.
Oh,
is the funniest thing.
Yeah,
I think I've. So, are you suggesting that the game is easier when your opponent knows what you're going to do?
No.
It seems like there's a lot of mental gymnastics going on up there.
Because it feels like, to me, that is a logical leap that should have been made a while ago. But Michigan, it's quarterback play, man. Like, you can't win with bad quarterbacks.
No.
And right now they have 3 bad quarterbacks.
I'm interested to see when they make the switch to Jack Tuttle. That was kind of like
he's healthy, right? Like
when I was up there,
he's ascending.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Is that them punting on the season though?
No, that's just saying we're going to put in the guy that we think makes the least mistakes and has the ability to run.
I thought Warren Davis was supposed to be that guy.
Well, apparently not.
He was supposed to be like
he's thrown
the
6 interceptions in 2.5 games, and
it's bad.
JJ McCarthy's.
But everybody said like he was the veteran guy, just get the ball out, not take sacks,
Bobby,
not throw pig.
It's bad.
I gave it a glance Armstrong and saw. I was like, this is bad ball. They're gonna win.
They better be thankful that they had 2 running backs that was running the ball very well, because that passing thing ain't it.
It's not for them.
Yeah, it's not them.
Be thankful they played Arkansas State.
That too.
Well, guess what? They're not playing Arkansas State.
I mean, Arkansas
this
State put up a little bit of a fight.
They did. Well, it started off bad. They came back. They were starting to come back towards the end.
It's too bad that Butch Jones didn't want to try and win that game early on.
I got to meet him. He came and shook my hand before the game.
Yeah? How'd you enjoy that?
It was all right.
Brick by brick, huh? I watched the Miami-Cincinnati game in person this weekend. That was interesting.
Yeah?
Hot as hell down there in Oxford, but it was beautiful. Beautiful campus.
What a choice. Bob?
Yeah, scenery.
What
did I watch?
What game did you watch on Saturday?
I had at one point 2 quad boxes going, the Octobox, and then I went to just a quad box and another. And the problem is, I consume so much, I forget it all.
It's consume like, so much football.
Yeah, like you can't. I told you I can only
talking about football.
I can only functionally watch like 2.5 games. Like I can flip back and forth with one and maybe be an eye on the other. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this one. I'm like trying to catch nuggets.
It's too much.
I'm a quad boxer, and I had.
I have another TV though.
I tried to introduce Austin to the quad box a week ago when the Michigan Texas
you don't do the quad box?
I hate it,
and he was like, "This is too much for me.
I can't focus on it."
I tell you what, I thought that I would enjoy it more if it's 2 really, really good games. Then I'll go for it. But I always find myself, I want the bigger screen. Because to me, one game interests me more than the other.
Not me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I usually have an Octobox.
Or I'll
have a primary, and then I'll have another TV that just has a main game on that I want to kind of watch.
That makes sense.
And it may or may not be part of the quad box on the other side.
I was in a hotel on Saturday night watching Kentucky, Georgia on the main TV, and then the quad box on the iPad to watch the Rockets.
That defensive game. Didn't you like that?
I like the fact that Georgia has played 3 games in the last 5 years on the road in the SEC where they've scored less than 20 points. And all 3 of them have been at Kentucky.
I'm about to say at Kentucky.
And they've won all of them.
You do realize that the D coordinator for Arkansas State, I just wanted to confirm that he didn't lose his job, was
Chick Harley's
yeah,
nephew.
Rob.
Ron-
Rob played with
yeah.
me. He's my age. So he was at Ohio
I
State.
didn't realize that, but I mean, I'm sure that they went into that game with a plan. Michigan, to their credit,
Oh,
said,
that was
hey,
a pretty decent plan.
we're gonna run the ball, and you're not gonna stop us. And to Tony Alford's credit, finally realized that Kalel Mullings is his best running back.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Well, I
gave him the
think
ball.
part of it is you have to have everybody else realize that too. When you have
As Ohio State had
Don-
a former linebacker at running back for a minute there. I mean, it can work.
That's a shame.
I get that, but
He's an EA Sports cover boy. What happened to him?
Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
he's not an every down like see it.
I understand. Well, why did he come back?
Because
Except-
EA Sports
to be an EA
encouraged
Sports
him.
cover
'cause
boy.
they
Man,
well, Tyvis, like you think
Where
about it
was he
now.
going to go?
You're a running back.
he could have got drafted sometime.
Yeah, but if you're a running back, you can come back and you're thinking, I'll be the man at Michigan. I'm going to get NIL money. I'll probably get as much here as I would have if I got
Because
drafted.
they needed him pretty bad.
Because they needed
From a
And
perception standpoint.
Here's the problem: is we only remember the games against us and like the big games.
Those
If
are
I-
the only ones he's ever played
And
well
that's
in.
those are the games that he's
Those are the
done
games
the
that got him on the
damage.
cover. He
Yeah.
had 2 long touchdowns against Ohio State 2 years ago. He had 2 long touchdowns against Washington in the national championship game, and poof, cover.
David Copperfield.
I can't believe it's like I'm watching his demise right before.
I think
my
it's just
very
what he's
eyes.
always has been.
No,
Like,
I'm not. I
It is.
don't want to accept
I've
it.
talked-
I don't want to accept that.
there's
Bobby.
a guy you need to talk to, a guy you may work with up there who has close knowledge of the program, and I think he'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. I think this is who he is.
He's
You
never
know?
been a guy who's able to see a hole and get like he.
If it's open
If it's
for
open, he's
him
gone.
and he can run, he's gone. He's got great speed, but I don't like Blake Corum. Elite balance, bouncing around. He could go. He's a 4 to 6 yard back, and then he'll pop in and get you 20. I think Edwards is just like boom. It's touchdown or
You know,
it's stuffed in the
or
hole.
nothing.
He would be perfect if Tom Brady was still playing. He'd make him a Super Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, if you had anybody that could throw the football, that would help, and an offensive line that was as good as they were last year, that would open up holes as wide as this table.
So the question I have is: Did anything you see? Did anything you saw this weekend in college football make you feel better or worse about Ohio State as along with probably Texas
Oh, I
and
felt,
Georgia as the classic college football, or that makes you go, oh, that's something to pay attention to?
I felt after watching this Georgia game, I was like, and watching Texas. Texas is a different breed. Obviously, they got some good stuff going. But when I
It
thought
wasn't like they were playing
exactly,
Alabama.
that,
out there.
exactly. But when I watched it, I was like, oh, Ohio State can beat anybody.
Yeah.
That was the feeling that I got away. There's no game that they should go in that I would be like worried about. I feel like they
Yeah.
can be on anybody's stage and they can beat anybody in college football.
You know what it makes me think, Berm, especially as it relates to Kentucky, Georgia, where Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State are the only 3 teams, Texas to maybe a slightly lesser extent, where you nitpick because you know that they're national title contenders. And like we're gonna nitpick and talk about things that Ohio State can do better starting on Saturday against Marshall as they gear up for this run. But like a 13-12 game, imagine what the Monday conversation in here would be like if that happened to Ohio State.
Well,
and that like,
Against like, Illinois or something.
yeah, like it
Yeah.
almost never happens.
Well,
Like,
it's a Kentucky team that got blasted by South Carolina. You know, I think South
That's
Carolina's
not a good
pretty
Kentucky team. There have
Yeah.
been decent Kentucky teams in the last 5, 6, 7
One's
years.
with Will
Yeah,
Levis.
that's not a good Kentucky.
Maybe I'm
Throwing
just,
underhand passes.
maybe I'm naive, but what is it about Georgia from a
think-
skill position, offensive skill position standpoint that really
Nothing.
well, I think
that's what I'm
I
thinking.
think that's
But,
what's being
but they won a
revealed.
national championship with Stetson Bennett that way in 2021.
But they also had
Dude, they got some dudes. I'll tell you what, Jalen Walker, like there's some
Yeah.
guys on that team. Can you guys tell me if I'm just a victim of being in the moment and being on the field for every Ohio State game? When you watch it, Georgia, do they not feel like they move faster and more violently than Ohio State's defense? Or
than
am I-
Ohio State's defense.
Yeah, like-
no, I don't.
as far as like just watching and going, like, man, they just seem to be violent, and I don't know that Ohio State.
I feel like
is
you
that
could
way.
have said that in the past. This year,
not
I'm
the
not.
last 2 weeks. No,
I would
Yeah.
say the reason you're saying that because they play Kentucky, which it's a rock fight. So like everybody's just in the box
Yeah,
going down
maybe.
there like hitting each other. If you were to see
you
Ohio
saw
State-
Jack Sawyer in week 1, right?
I mean, I'm not suggesting Ohio State's not a good defense. I'm just saying, like, when you watch what Jalen Walker does, and maybe this is just schematic in the way that Ohio State doesn't really send the linebackers to be that aggressive, or we've talked so much about wanting to see C.J. Hickson, that just stand-up edge.
I mean,
rush
Sonny
roll.
Styles moves pretty fast and is pretty big.
Yeah, I would
what
just.
about Caleb Downs?
We don't see them.
Caleb's
Lathan
very-
Ransom?
Maybe
That's
we
what
just
I'm
don't see
saying.
him deployed in that way. You know, it seems like it's a
No, when teams are just going to line up and run it, and like Kentucky has some dudes over there,
Yeah.
so like we haven't played a team where there's any huge collisions because the guys you're playing against are
Kentucky has better receivers than Georgia.
Well,
That's
let
the
me
problem.
ask you.
Their quarterback.
Let me ask you this,
couldn't
Byron.
have time to throw.
When you look at Georgia's defense, when you look at Ohio State's defense, do they come off as more aggressive, or are they more, we're not going to give up the explosive play? Because last year that was the thing.
I think Ohio State is so fundamentally sound on defense. I think Georgia probably is more mistake prone.
Oh, definitely.
They're ultra aggressive.
They're super aggressive.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like they just are always downhill.
They're forward. I don't think we're blitz as much as that, because we don't. If you're really good and sound, like you don't have to do those things because you can get pressure with forward.
Again, I might be a victim to just being on the field and constantly like seeing it all. It feels
also,
slower in real life.
They're playing a conference game against a team that they've historically struggled with.
Yeah.
Like Kentucky's giving them hard games, so they're going to probably be more aggressive and do more stuff. Like, are you really going to pull that out, especially this year against Akron and Western Michigan? So I just don't see that right now. Like we'll see when they play Georgia, when they play Oregon,
Texas,
how that looks.
I mean, you got Texas and Georgia coming up on the 19th of October. Like that game, I think is now I think there was an early season barometer game for National College Football, which was Michigan Texas. Right, we kind of got an idea now where.
You thought that was going to be a good game?
I just thought no. I thought it was going to be a barometer to tell us.
It told us a lot about Michigan. I still don't know what it told us about Texas.
I think Texas is pretty elite.
They are. They got really good players.
So I mean, I think that we can now heading into mid-September. Like there seems to be 4 teams that are elite, and
Green Day said, "Wake me up when September."
Wait a minute. Are you Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, and Bama? Is that your 4?
I think Bama's like.
I'm not ready to go there with Bama yet. Not yet.
I mean, here's the thing. They're playing Wisconsin. It's 28-10. Wisconsin forces a 3-and-out, gets a punt. They have a chance before the fourth quarter to go down and get points and make it like
with a backup quarterback.
And by the way, your quarterback blows his ACL
also,
3 or 4 minutes in the game.
Your starting quarterback was Tyler Van Dyke, so it wasn't going to matter anyway.
Yeah,
I think they call him TVD to make it sound cooler, church it up a little bit.
Church it up.
But they fumbled the first. I mean, Fick's head had to explode off of his shoulders. Like, we got the stop. It's 28-10. Like, let's go put together a drive. 28-13, not bad. 28-17, even better.
Yeah.
And they fumble the first stinking play. Like, if you're a defensive player, you want to wring their neck. Like, you just got off the field for you. You're on the 25, 30-yard line, like, decent field position. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked over the weekend, it's like, well, I mean, Texas is the new number 1, and talking about some of the things you're mentioning there.
Because Arch Manning had that run.
I mean, people are excited about Arch Manning. I get it.
The dude completed 5 passes and had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean,
that is ridiculous.
I'll say this. I mean, that's the fastest that Manning's ever moved since his grandfather was running for his life down in New Orleans. I mean, like, none of the other ones.
Peyton heard of a Kenny Chesney concert once and got there pretty fast.
Yeah, we can fly and pay. I mean, you can try to get there, but I mean, Arch is like legit fast. I mean,
he was rolling.
He
was rolling
he
for
opened
sure.
it up, like, no one closed distance on him.
I feel like I would have walked him down, but he was rolling for sure.
I mean, they're playing Texas. Who are they playing? Texas State.
UT San Antonio.
UT San Antonio.
Texas San Antonio.
I'd have walked him. I'd have walked him.
Maybe back then. I don't know about now.
But I mean, to your point, Berm, like, you look at the resumes at this juncture. Texas is a justified number 1. I think you have to ding Georgia for what they did against Kentucky. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because the conference races have far more importance than they ever have before in the expanded college football playoff. But outside of those top 4, it shapes up like, hey, you know what? Maybe 4 was a good amount for the college football playoff.
Did Oregon change anyone's mind?
So I had a conversation with Jeff Schwartz, who played at Oregon.
Spelled with a G-O-F-F.
Yeah, G-off, if you will. Brother of
I think
Mitch.
he wants the E in there.
Brother of Mitch.
Why did you feel you needed to specify that?
I don't know.
It's like if you spell your name Jerry with a G.
Yeah,
like,
I think people need to know that there's Jeffs and then there's Jeff.
G-offs.
By the way, we heard from Jerry with a J, and Ohio State, Michigan State is going to be a 7 p.m. kickoff.
I'm surprised I'm putting that on Big Noon, too.
Yeah.
Just more Big Noons, the better.
It'll be
beauty.
Night Banger streaming on the Cock.
There you go. Perfect.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I know. I regret saying that we'll never play on Peacock. I won't say we won't.
We played
play
on it
Friday.
last year.
I know. I
think-
said it last year.
Well, I think contractually they have.
We're going to
to
play one game a year on that. I promise you that.
That means
What
that
about the
maybe
Friday?
the Iowa game won't be on Peacock.
No, I think
The Iowa
It'll be
game,
on
I think
CBS.
it's going to be.
it'll be
no,
3:30.
3:30 CBS.
I'm betting it's 3:30 CBS.
it's not going to be big noon. It's either going to be 3:30 or
At least we
7:30.
won't
I
have
bet
to play on
3:30.
Friday.
No, we ain't playing Fridays. I'm putting that right down.
I'm
now.
just thinking about how many night games in a row.
hey, sorry, you digress me.
Sorry,
Oregon.
sorry.
Yes,
Jeff.
Oregon.
I guess they were playing some guys. Like their offensive line blocked much better up
Yeah.
front. And they were able to
Yeah.
run the ball. And Oregon State's a good team. And you'd have to think, when you're playing a team that's in that situation, you are literally getting the hardest swing from them that you possibly could. You left them, you're in-state rival. And I'm not saying that they're a great team, but they were going to have some stuff for them. They made some changes on their offensive line. I guess there were some guys that were maybe playing that were kind of giving them the opportunity to maybe play themselves in or out of a job, and is more so play their way out. They made these changes. They looked better. And then I think getting Dylan Gabriel involved in the run game. Like, I don't think Oregon, at the beginning of the year, I thought Oregon was as good as Ohio State and Georgia and Texas. I do not believe that anymore, though.
It's the risk you run, and we've talked about this for the last couple of years now. I mean, Florida State is the prime example.
Portal
of it.
combat?
I mean, if you're building a team in the transfer portal, there is a real chance that you're not going to click. And-
Yeah, that's
and-
exactly what that is.
I'm not saying it's that. Oregon's undefeated, so they maybe
Barely, but
they didn't play well the first 2 weeks, but that game on October 12th they're going to ramp up to that moment. So I mean that's still going to be the game in the Big Ten.
But I also think it is some good in Oregon because they played those close games because they're battle tested.
Yeah.
They at the end of the day
You could lose them.
you could. At the end of the day, they've been in close games. So when they get into Big Ten competition, when the competition is a little bit better, they know how to at least win. They know how to be poised in those moments.
Now you're making the argument for the 2002 national championship.
you
Buckeyes. Just play a lot of close games so you get really good at it.
Just don't lose it.
Even if the teams aren't very good.
The 2014 Buckeyes played a lot of close
I would
games.
say we played some close games too.
Like, there's something about that where, like, okay, we've been here before, and you get better at it.
Yeah.
Your team, the
Whether-
revisionist
whether-
history around that team in 2014 is hilarious to me.
I mean, it's like because people then remember the 2015 games all outside of Michigan State as if that was 2014, even though it was not. Like, it was not near a dominant.
What, didn't
I
we,
was just
didn't we
asking-
only beat Minnesota by one touchdown?
That was
GT had
in
like
November.
the 80,000-yard
It
run.
went to overtime, and it was in November. Everyone's, after they
we
lost.
went into overtime
Yeah.
with Minnesota?
After they
Yes.
lost, they
No,
just
we
continued
did not.
to continue to get better. And
Oh,
better.
hold on. I got to check the car facts.
You
We
and I
did
were
not-
just talking about this.
We did not go into overtime
2
with
weeks
Minnesota.
ago.
I don't remember
I'm
that.
going to be honest, Tyvis.
You told me that it was negative 17 degrees.
It
I
was
said no.
cold. Yes, it
That
was.
was-
I
miserable.
don't remember being in overtime, but I will give these guys. They were there freezing.
That
You were
was
there
miserable.
running around.
Well,
I
one of
remember
us was there
JT
freezing.
had the slowest, longest run in the history of Ohio
He did
State.
do that. Yeah, that game didn't go into overtime.
What was it? 30-20?
31-24.
Well, that might as well be overtime.
No, I ain't. Like,
It's because JT took so long on that run. It seemed like it
we
was
were there
overtime.
all day. Anyway, so I guess the question is, we've seen Oregon maybe play a little bit better. Penn State thought they were really good against West Virginia, then a step back.
But here's the thing, though. Just to the point we made.
Yeah.
I watched Notre Dame lose that same game. Penn
Absolutely.
State found a way to win it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm just saying, as we sit here now, coming out of Improvement Week, what do you think is the toughest game left? Is it still Oregon for you, or Penn State in the conversation?
It'll be USC in the Big Ten
USC in the Big
championship.
Ten championship.
That's what
USC,
it'll be.
which was also, by the way, can we not schedule the off weeks for like all the good teams at the same time? like could we not have, Bo Bishop made the point, he's like, could you not have played Ohio State and USC and just played this game this week instead of
Wasn't this supposed to be the
you know what?
Washington game?
Your foray into the Big Ten with the new expansionary teams, you get to welcome Indiana into a fully packed 40,000 person Rose Bowl game.
Hey, there were
And
more
Indiana
people.
smacks them.
Indiana
There
smacked
were more people there than I thought there were going to be.
Indiana went down there
I thought there'd be like 4,000 people there. So
Well,
good on.
I think the
The
Indiana
Hoosiers fans showed
They
up.
showed up because they thought they were going to win the game, and they did. And they look good. My man Rourke from Ohio
OU.
University.
Oh, yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Bobcats.
All right. Oregon, the toughest game then? Are we all in agreement that
I
that's
will-
where they are?
I always say this. I think because there's an unfamiliarity with that location.
Mhm.
I think Penn State, you know what it is. It's not going to be night. It'll be big noon.
James Franklin is still the coach.
James Franklin will find a way. He'll find a way to give it away to you at the end. But outside of that, like this Oregon, you're going in there. It's cross country. There's just a lot of variables, and Iowa will be a good defensive, like offensive test against their defense.
You're coming a little beat up.
But it's going to be a tough game. You're coming in from it's your first big road game where Penn State you'll have a little bit under your belt.
You're coming into that game in Eugene off of a physical game against Iowa because that's what happens in that game. It's traveling across country. It's what we talked about the other day. Like there's so many other things that go into that game and the travel and the time zones and jet lag and all that stuff that game is still going to be the toughest. And Oregon's going to.
And no one's played there. Chip having Chip is probably the biggest advantage for him being the OC. The fact that he is intimately familiar with what to expect out there. Because Ty, you play in a place for the first time, and this isn't going to Minnesota. I mean, you're going across the country. Yeah. Eugene, you got to drive. How far is the crap from the airport? All the hotel from the stadium, all those things matter.
Are they not left and right? Wait a minute, are they not going a day or 2 days early?
They're going Friday, I think.
Yeah, they're going Friday. Sticking to the routine.
I've never been a fan of that. When you going time zones like that,
I think on the way out to go a day early isn't the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing, but I always prefer it. I think the only time I got to do that is when we played Cal.
It's a long flight the day before.
Yeah, but you guys weren't in school yet, right? So.
Yes, we were.
Okay.
Yeah, we
were.
were.
Yeah, because you were on semesters.
Yeah, I was on semesters.
Right. I'll be. You're fact checking me on everything today. That's
he
I'm
is.
telling you, yeah. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, they had our bodies ready to go. It was early in this. I think it was game 2 or 3 of the season, so your bodies were still pretty fresh.
And it was against Cal.
Yeah, and our fans did a really good job of taking over that stadium.
And that was when someone almost got shot. They were five. That was when you're walking around the hotel and the people were. I mean. That was that game, right? I remember.
I think it is.
Yes.
I
remember doing the pregame and they're talking oh my gosh, there were gunshots fired after the breakfast or something.
I don't think we know that story.
You might be right.
That one seems like an internal story.
You guys stayed in Oakland, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah, I think we were pretty close. Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Going to the West Coast, difficult travel. Here's one thing I don't need a fact check for, Bob. On Appetizer 3's Day, mozzarella sticks are going to be $3.
$3 all day long. They're your 5-tool player. They're crispy. They're delicious. They're tasty. And get the QR code here. The Buckeye Bowl Trip giveaway. There's another one coming up. We've already given away the first group of winners. There's going to be 2 more, so be sure to register roosterswings.com or go here. You can register each and every day along with the hundreds of millions of others who are registering there.
Register early, register often.
Absolutely.
Register every day.
And if today's this is a test run of the appetizer for Tuesday, that is a primo mott stick that we have today.
I actually enjoyed it. As a matter
that
of fact,
was a delightful.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you another one.
Nice
You guys know I'm a mac and cheese bite guy, but that cheese stick that I had, 15 minutes ago, that through the roof.
I could see the goo oozing from
that
your
was
mouth.
a fantastic mott stick. Well done.
Jay-Z's going to be upset that he missed that, but you know what? You make your choices in life. Tyvis gets to reap the benefits of those mott sticks in here on a Monday live show at Roosters, which is a fun casual joint. We're going to take a break, and then we're actually going to talk about those Buckeyes getting ready for Saturday against Marshall when we come back for the second half of the show. Fun casual joint. It's Roosters.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye playoff game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Second half at Roosters, a fun, casual joint rolling along. Let's actually talk about those Buckeyes coming off of improvement week. And it is, of course, what we do. We nitpick. This team's trying to win a national championship.
They didn't make a bad play all
They didn't
weekend.
make a bad play. But the standard is the standard, Bob.
It is.
So if there's something that you want to see that can be improved against Marshall.
This is so hard because
when
you think about last game,
if it's nothing, you can say nothing.
No, I want more takeaways because that was the one thing. I mean, it was a flawless thing. That defense been trying to get a goose egg for 2 years or 3 years.
5 years.
It's been that long?
2019.
They've been trying to get a goose egg for 5 years, and they finally achieved that. But in that game, they didn't get a takeaway. They didn't get picks and stuff like that. And I think those are still difference makers. So if I had to be picky, that's what I want to see in Marshall. That ball is going to go in the air, force them to throw the ball, that offense is going to jump to a big lead, make them throw the ball, and DBs make plays on the ball.
Well, I mean, to throw the ball, you have to be trying to win. I think some people look at that and they're like, hey, let's just run this thing and get out of here. The turnovers is really the one thing. Outside of that,
How many sacks did we have last game? 2?
3.
I think it was
maybe?
2.
I think it was 2 too.
Yeah, but they threw the ball like 18 times. I mean, they didn't throw the ball. I think they were 10 of 18.
You got a point.
So, for me.
They had less than 100 yards of offense.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's
They
so
had
That
hard.
was pretty
They
good.
had 5
10
yards of offense in the second
10,
half. It's
3
just
and out.
It's so hard
So
to pick.
if you just give me a game that looks similar to that, has a similar feel, Marshall's going to get some first downs. They're going to move the ball. But if you're telling me you beat them, 49-6, and the defense plays the same, they don't give up any big plays, maybe there's a little drive, a penalty or something that gets them down there like the Akron game, I'm good with that. Because I think Marshall, they're more talented. They've got some players on the outside, some things that guys, if you're not locked in, they can break one on you. So I'm excited to kind of see that. That's where I'm at.
Officially credited with 3 sacks in the win over Western Michigan. Jack Sawyer, Cody Simon on that blitz early on, and then the TNT, Ty Hamilton and Tyleek Williams combination for the third. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Could be better.
Could be. I mean, it's 8 sacks in 2 games and 3 turnovers.
What
and
about
15 tackles for loss? So
what about offensively?
It's not for me. It's not about it like what you want to see improving. I just want to see consistency, and I don't know. We don't have reason to believe that they.
I got something. I got a spot.
Let's hear it.
Tight end.
Okay.
I like to see the tight ends get involved.
What do you want them to do?
I mean, they were blocking pretty well.
I want them to be in the pass game. I want some Cage
They
Stover
were targeted,
moments.
7 times against Western
I
Michigan?
want some Cage Stover moments.
Targeted 7 times, 5 completions against Western Michigan. I mean, that's
They were only targeted once in the opener.
against Akron, so that's 700%.
I'm trying to be picky. That was the point of this segment, is to be
right,
picky.
right. Yeah.
The thing is, by them, I want them targeted more and more involved. And that means that there's plays that will not be going to the running game or plays that won't be going to receivers.
So tight ends don't matter?
No, I'm not saying it don't matter. But then they're like, well, we need to run the ball more. Why are we throwing it so much? So, it's just trying to figure that out. The exact formulas can be tough.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing that I'm going to be looking at the offense and go, this has to be much better.
I agree with that. I'm trying to be critical in some way. It was flawless. What do you want me to say? It was flawless.
Tyvis,
there.
I can't be critical. It's not in my DNA. I'm a state media. All I care about is pumping up and blowing sunshine on the Buckeyes' butts.
I want to see.
Haven't you heard? Yeah. We're homers.
No. You got to also, at some point, you got to just tell it like it is.
No, I can't.
And if I tell it like it is right now, they're flawless. It's nothing I can say.
So all I want to see
is more of that.
Yeah. I want to see the continuation of the improvement of Will Howard as a downfield passer. I mean, that's something I think, obviously now we've played 2 games. There's been 2 deep shots that were woefully underthrown. One of them, JJ
Look at you.
caught.
Okay, there you go. You're being critical.
One he didn't end up catching, even though it was in his hands, JJ. You probably should have caught it. I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
You're going to get a DL.
I do think that's just the one area. If you really want to get the best out of this offense moving forward, then the deep threat has to be a threat. And so you need to be able to throw it out there. You got guys like Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka and Brandon Tate and Brandon Innes and Carnell Tate.
Brandon Tate.
The combo of those 2 guys would be pretty scary.
Used to be a receiver.
The defense has to be terrified of what happens down the field.
I agree with that.
So,
I would flat-foot it all day long.
So that happens when Will Howard hits a couple of those. And that's why, for me, if you're looking at something to do early in this game on Saturday, I want to see deep shots early.
The Lil John
philosophy? Was that not a thing that he did at Kansas State?
No, his leading receiver at Kansas State was a tight end who was basically a fullback.
Gotcha.
Say
no more.
That was part of their offense. They didn't have any guys. I think Tyvis, you're stretching the field with these guys. They did a lot of quarterback run, read, RPO.
So this is all new to him.
Yeah, and I'm not talking out of school because Will tell you the same thing. He did not have receivers like this.
Yeah, he said it multiple times.
I mean, nobody does.
And he didn't know. I think sometimes you just I'm going to throw it and I'll just then you realize, holy crap, that dude's way faster than I thought. And with a guy like Jeremiah Smith, you have to try to overthrow him. See what happens. You know what I mean? See if you can do it.
I think that's the timing part that will come with reps. And there's been a rush in some ways. Devin Brown needs to be out there. Julian Say needs to be out there. Get the backups ready. The balance. We talked about this a week ago. Is making sure that Will Howard is comfortable with whether that's the tight ends or whether that's how fast Jeremiah Smith is or the offense or getting down RPOs, which there was more of those from week 1 to week 2. the starter has to be ready for them to win a national championship, or before that to go win on the road at Oregon. So, like, I understand that, especially because Texas just showed Arch Manning coming out and playing a week ago. Like, you have to be prepared for the worst case scenario, but you also have to be prepared for the best case scenario, which is Will Howard being out there and playing every snap against Oregon.
Austin, who are you comfortable with as the two quarterback?
The backup quarterback, I think it's Devin Brown. I think I think
even after Julian's little,
I liked what I saw to Devin against Western Michigan.
I think this version of Devin Brown, and I don't like, because I don't think that there is a head-to-head comparison. Will Howard is clearly this team's starting quarterback, and so comparing what he does well to Devin Brown, I think is a waste of time. Mm-hmm. So I think Devin Brown, though, compared to the version a year ago that didn't win the job or wasn't maybe ready or didn't have the confidence of the coaching staff, whatever the reason is for the way that transpired, Devin Brown is clearly a better version of himself. Physically, the confidence was always there, but the understanding of the playbook. When Berm and I, like, we're all guilty of this, of comparing him to Joe Burrow. The part that I always wanted to add in was it's not just the mentality or the willingness to take shots down the field, the things that he does well, deep ball. Like, Joe Burrow was not Joe Burrow as a true freshman or a sophomore
or even a junior.
It took 3 years of development plus that year of growing pains, if you want to call it that, at LSU. Yeah. So Devin Brown is on a normal development plan, and I think that he is doing a very good job of maximizing those opportunities. So I don't know what that means for 2025. I'm not worried about that right now. I think if they had to go, if I had to go win a game right now, that's clearly Devin Brown.
But also, the offense right now for Devin Brown is far better suited than it was a year ago. When if you do have to take Will Howard off the field for X amount of plays, you can run the exact same offense, and it plays into Devin Brown's strengths as opposed to a year ago, where I think if you were trying to run the Kyle McCord offense with Devin Brown, it did not. So Will Howard and Devin Brown are very similar in style. So I think that's actually stylistically similar. So I think that's actually something that should give some confidence to Devin. So I don't think that when we're picking nits here, we should be like, hey, I want to see more of X player or this player. But like, I do have a desire to see more of what Chip Kelly envisions Emeka Egbuka's role being in this offense.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick like a player that I'm like, hey, let me see something more here. I don't think we've seen that.
Why do I feel like I haven't really seen him a lot?
Yeah, and that's because he hasn't had to play much. It's like JT Tuimoloau on defense. Like the first game,
his pass rush is really good.
The first game against Akron, JT in like the first quarter was eating, dominating, and then he didn't play the rest of the game. And so
you said you wanted to see more rotations.
Yeah, but I want to see superstars do superstar things, and I think Emeka Egbuka is a superstar.
He is,
and I don't know that.
But I thought everybody wanted to see JJ get featured early on.
JJ's got 2.5 more years.
I get that, but how are you supposed to be able to show everybody the shiny new toy and then also do that? There's only one ball, Berm.
I think Emeka's a shiny new toy for Ohio State.
I believe me. I think Emeka's great.
Let me ask you this, Bobby.
Why do you hate Emeka Egbuka?
I love him.
If you was playing Ohio State, would you game plan for Emeka or JJ?
Right now, I would game plan for JJ.
Which is what Marshall's going to do.
I think that's the problem.
Emeka's going to have a
down
the
road.
But like Akron, who you think they game plan for?
Probably more for Emeka. I mean, they had heard a lot about JJ, but they hadn't seen him on the field. Like, how are you using him? Now that they have an idea, I think they know. And, Emeka, he got robbed out of his touchdown in the first game, which was tremendous, an unbelievable catch, and he got his hand down, and they made up some nonsense about the ball moving later, which was never even in question.
He didn't get a hand down and
he got the elbow. He had to get the wrist. So he was able to do that. He'll make plays, and he's going to make a ton. Emeka is a very understated person, like, personality-wise. Like, he's not someone that has this big, larger-than-life persona. I mean, if it's possible to be someone to be less stated than even Marvin Harrison, who was like the reluctant star as well.
Yeah,
like that's Emeka. Like, he's not a me flash guy. He'll go make his plays, go do what he needs to do, and very soft-spoken dude, like handle all that way.
But that's why he needs people like us to be like him instead of he's not going to be like me. So we should be out here going him.
But I don't think there's any confusion in the offensive coaching staff about how good Emeka is.
Well, that's why I'm predicting he's going to have a monster game.
And I think that's.
Well, I don't think he needs it right now, though.
I'm going Cardinal Tate just to
you can just rotate around, JJ, and every one of these guys should have a monster game at some point. Because
that's true too.
I think these early big games for Jeremiah Smith provide. I think to what Tyvis is talking about, the proof of concept for Jeremiah Smith destroying secondaries with his deep speed is going to open up a lot of other things, I think, for Brandon Ennis and Emeka Ibuka specifically, like stretching the field, RPO stuff. If you start doubling Jeremiah Smith, good luck to you.
You know what you
I
want.
think-
Why don't you just ask for it?
I think the greatest compliment
gonna
that
say
you could
You
give.
want the pop pass and you want it.
Well,
now.
but I think the greatest compliment you could give Emeka is the fact that they haven't featured him or really tried to significantly during the first 2
And he
games.
still has 10 catches. And
And he still has 10 catches, and he's done some great things. Had a catch that was taken away, the touchdown, whatever. But like personality-wise, that's not what he needs. I think they wanted to get JJ going to show everybody that. Cornell Tate, who I thought would have a bigger year last year than he did, like you want to get him going and get some confidence. I don't think JJ needs any of it, or I don't think Emeka needs any of that.
Right.
And so I think that they were trying to establish some of these guys earlier in the season to give them opportunities, to give them that confidence. Whereas Emeka's like, if you throw it to me 5 times, great. If you throw it to me 15, fine.
Even better.
Bobby, that man took a 5-yard hitch and scored.
Who's that?
JJ.
Oh, yeah. It was a little more than 5, but yeah, it was. I mean, Schleichs tried to tell me that he would have caught him as one of the linebackers. What a great-
yeah,
one of the
okay.
great
What, with,
Roosters.
Yeah,
the- with spike strips and a
That's what I
net.
said. I'm like,
That man
What-
took a 5-yard hitch.
he's
and
like,
took
no,
it
I
to
would have
the-
pushed to it
can't-
faster and been in better position. I'm like, get out of here.
I don't believe him,
I don't believe him either.
I'm
but it's
kinda-
good to have confidence in yourself and in your ability.
I'm kind of conflicted because I wouldn't mind if Emeka keep falling in the NFL draft so the Bengals can replace Jamar Chase with him next year.
Jamar Chase.
Wow.
Wow. We're going all
What is wrong with you?
Well, he's not going to re-sign with the Bengals. He's over it. He's done.
I mean, he beefing with Joe Burrow on the field.
That's, listen, those are you've been on the field. Those are guys that are close. And when you're out there getting us 15 yarders, would you do the same thing?
Kind of a key moment of the game.
I
there.
mean, if one of you you would grab one of your teammates. I mean, you like, dude, we're done. Like, get
Oh,
up.
if something happened like that,
Yes.
Well, Joe bailed him out. Bengals still got a field goal on that drive because Joe was able to pick up 12 on the next play to Gesicki. But, yeah, that was pretty
yeah.
dumb.
Are you insinuating Jamar Chase is checked out?
I'm insinuating he will be by the time this season's over.
Okay.
He's got 2 more years left on the field, bro.
I don't know how that's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
happen, but
We'll see.
he's not going to shut it down entirely.
We'll see. T. Higgins is.
Okay.
Berm's
Tyvis.
already done. Negative Berm's.
No, negative Berm
No,
is
no.
back.
As
The
a
Bengals
they go-
have broken him.
They go 0-2, and it's like everybody just go shut it
They're
down.
0-2 every year. That's not the problem. This is the problem for me as a lifelong Bengals fan. I'm trying to be more optimistic about all things Ohio State related because we're homers and that's what we do. But
When it comes to
boy, when it comes to the Bengals, I freaking hate those guys. I mean, they just make me so mad.
the Browns won, so there we go.
They
I
make
had some
me
good.
so mad.
I had some good post game phone
They
calls.
tried to lose it, though.
They
Don't
did.
Don't
Oh,
ever,
they did.
don't ever mistake what was trying to happen. I mean, the Ohio teams this week, they were trying to give the games away. You know, there was a lot of bad ball played this weekend, man. Really bad ball.
Yeah, sure was. But let's see some good
Score predictions,
football
right?
on Saturday noon against Marshall. Tyvis, what's the score?
What's
gonna
the
be?
spread? 30, 38,
39.
39.
Nicole, by the way, has 42-10 this week.
I
She
like
apologized that it was the same score as Western Michigan,
That's okay.
but she said she
She felt it.
strongly
I'm
believes
going.
it.
I'm keeping them out of the end zone. I'll give them 2 field goals at the most. I'm gonna say 42-3.
42-3.
I'd say I'll
39 on the dot.
go 49-6.
42-3 was Nicole's score as well?
No, she had
42-10.
42.
42-10. Okay.
Touchdown. You better not give them a touchdown. Let's
Yeah,
say
I don't
49, 49
I don't see the
6.
touchdown. I get the field goals. They'll get some holding calls. IGB might get a holding call and put them down there, and they get a field goal.
I do reserve the right to change my mind here as I do a little bit more research on the Thundering Herd.
I mean, I watched their Virginia Tech game. They got some guys. Like, this isn't some slap group of
Yeah.
players.
42-3. Book it.
I'm
It's
gonna,
locked in.
I'm going to go with 48 for Ohio State to 7 for Marshall.
They're not scoring, bro.
Giving up the touchdown. All right.
Have they not? They haven't given up a touchdown.
No,
this
they have
year.
not.
not. 6
Yeah,
points,
That's
2
not
field
happening.
goals.
It's not happening.
Okay. I mean, I hope you're right.
That'd be pretty
What if I
impressive.
said
You
that
go
they
3
had 2
games, no
safeties and a field goal?
touchdowns. Wait, you call it the Iowa. We call that the Iowa
The
7.
Iowa 7.
They're the only team I've ever seen to do that.
In Iowa 7. All right. Did you say a
And to
score,
win
Bob?
the game, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, 49-3
49-3.
or 49-6. I mean, I'll give them 2 field goals.
52-6. Ohio State wins on Saturdays.
You
They
picking
give
that
them-
score again?
Yeah, I'm going to keep picking it every week. I think that's just a good score.
Was 52?
It's a
like,
hearty score.
high
It's a Midwestern
40s to
score.
low. Like this Ryan isn't going to go to try to score 70. People are like, oh, look at Ole Miss.
He will the last
Look
game
at
of the season.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee could have scored 115 points.
They should have. They should have.
They're Tennessee. What do they got to lose?
I mean,
Nobody respects them anyway.
dude, that was crazy.
I'm one of those people that if you upset about it, you need to get your team back to play better.
They're up 65-0 at half,
Just run it up.
and like it could
I'm
have
about
been
to stop my team
anything
from
they
getting
want.
better.
I had a friend who picked Kent State to cover 71.5, and they had to wind up sweating it.
That's a big number.
That
Like,
is a huge-
I didn't even know that they would make spreads that large, but apparently they did.
if people will put money on it, they'll put it out there.
Got them by the hook. Congratulations. So Ohio State 39-point favorites on Saturday. Game number 3. Great to be back. Thank goodness improvement week is over. Thanks for joining us. If you're going to come hang out at Roosters on a Tuesday, I can't recommend it enough. Mozzarella sticks are going to be $3, and register for the Roosters Buckeye giveaway while you're there. Thanks to Tyvis Powell. Thanks to Bobby Carpenter. Thanks to Jeremy Birmingham. Thanks to Nicole Cox and the whole team at Roosters for having us in here. Roosters is a fun, casual joint. Enjoy the game on Saturday. We'll see you back in here next Monday. So long.